All right, guys, welcome to the Buff Show. Today we have another market update coming your way. Me and Mr. Ben Larson,
Mr. I like that.
Who just turned a year older yesterday.
33 years young, baby.
So,
All
yeah,
right.
if that makes him any more wise when doing these, I think you get a little bit more credibility.
I think I look way older, so if I just tell people I'm older, they have more trust in me.
If people ask you, like if you ask people how old do they think you are, what?
Lower 50s, upper 40s,
No
lower
way.
50s, all the time.
No way.
Yep.
Yep.
We ought to send a picture out and just get one of those polls going.
We should though.
Yeah, see what the average age of my tire. I actually do this just because I'm actually healthy, but I get fat, so I have more credibility.
So
more trusting.
We went to lunch yesterday, and Ben calls every like waitress dear, and Austin was like, "I don't think I could get away with that, calling people dear."
Right.
I don't think I could either.
It's an old people thing. Think about it. Like I said, I'm old. Like thank you, dear. You know?
Ben's got an old soul. So, anyways, we got a market update. So it is March 13th. And we are reviewing February's numbers. Again, these lag. So these have felt like a drag for so long, but they're actually getting more exciting.
Because stuff's changing. Like we're moving now. We're not just like flatlining anymore.
I feel like last year we could have done one and it would have been the same for the whole year.
It was. I mean, hey, everything's still expensive. Rates are still high. That's what it was over and over again.
Now we got some changes for you. And so we're going to do one for the whole state of Utah. That covers all counties, just what Utah's trending, and then we're going to break one down into Morgan County and Ogden Valley. So,
okay, let's start. So, new listings, and we're comparing February of 2024 to February of 2023. So, we're kind of giving what was happening last year at this time to this year at this time. So, new listings, we went from 3,800 new listings in February to this year we have 4,253 new listings. So, about a 11% jump in inventory. So that stuff's coming back on. People are starting to move again. So,
and I think that is because everybody's been married to their interest rate and they've been waiting and waiting. And I think people are just like those that have to move and haven't been wanting to ditch that interest rate now are finally just being like, life goes on. Right. Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
Exactly.
And I don't know. Market's changing, as we'll dive into. So new listings are up 11%. Pending sales are up 4%. I'm not going to go into the numbers necessarily, but as you'll see in the charts here, we're up 4% on pending sales. So new listings, new pending sales are up.
So closed sales, this is one of those flatline things you're talking about. We have roughly the same amount of closed sales, up only 1% to roughly 400 homes over the entire state of Utah. So closed sales really haven't changed much.
Yeah. And then days on market until a sell, another flatliner. We are up 1.5%. So last year they were 67 days on market on average, or 66. This year we're 67. I think that's going to really start to change. My prediction as we go into March, April, May, I think we're going to see this be dropping
drastically. Well, and pay attention to, we're talking about all of Utah. When we start getting to our micro markets of Ogden Valley and Morgan, remember we're at 67 days in all of Utah. Mm-hmm. Keep that in mind when we look at our smaller counties and our markets that we really hit. So median sales price. So this is always a fun one to look at. So remember the median is we're taking the high and lows and we're just knocking them off from end to end until we get to the middle price. And last year is $465,000. This year, $490,000. So our median sales price has gone up 5%, almost $30,000, $25,000 on average, or on median sales price.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
And if we look at our high and our dip, we've kind of flatlined between the high of the crazy market and then the dip of that interest rate jump. Mm-hmm. We've come right in the middle if you look at these charts.
Yeah, that is very true.
So we've upped, dipped, and now we're kind of plateaued right in the middle of those two numbers. So
yeah, I'm going to cover average and then we can talk about that because average price, again, this is adding everything up and dividing it by the number of inputs that you had. Average sales price last year was $587. And now we're $627. So a 6.8% increase, almost 7% on the average price. And again, we're kind of seeing the high up here, the low down here, and we're getting back into the middle. And it'll be interesting to see where things go.
This is where I get the most crazy looks. People are, that famous. Well, how's the market doing? Because you're an agent, and you look at them and you go, it's starting to go up, and everyone, or I get, have we hit the bottom yet? Have we? When are we going to crash? And I'm like, well, if you look at it, we crashed 4 or 5 months ago, and we've been doing nothing but coming up since.
Yeah.
So.
I would say it's been slightly over 12 months ago was the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are on the up. The bottom has passed and it is changing now. And I think I get the same thing. People are like, they're waiting for the market to drop when in fact it's already dropped and it's flipped around, and we're already starting to see this feeding frenzy starting to happen.
Yep.
In the past, we'll just say since March began, in our office, I'll bet we've had 10 different multiple offer situations, which it sucks. Like but it's back. It's coming back. I'm getting to the point where I'm out showing homes and I'm having other agents come in while I'm showing homes. And I'm like, oh, not this again.
Yep.
Like it just, when last year you would show a house and you wouldn't see another agent or buyer in sight. Like
and they'd beg you, please come in. Please, we'll clean the house and carpets.
Yeah, they'd have fresh cookies baked.
Exactly.
And now it's and now it's agents are like, hey, we had, there was one house, they had like 15 showings in a matter of like 24, 48 hours, and multiple offers already above asking. My clients were like, oh man.
Right.
Like
And I think there's the kind of, I was talking to you before this, when something's priced appropriately, it moves and you get those multiple offers and you get that craze. But there's still that, we're reaching for the stars. And that's why I think you're seeing some of these higher wait times on the market.
Oh, yeah.
But anything that is priced to where it should be or where the market says, it's moving. And I'm not saying that they're giving it away or it's cheap. It's just priced appropriate.
So, and we do have a few listings, me currently, that have been on the market for a while. We're still under the average days on market. I feel like if you're a seller, there's multiple strategies right now you could look into. You can price it where market values are, or even now I'm starting to even price slightly ahead and be patient as a seller, tempting to trying to get a higher price, right? And we'll see where that goes. Like right now, we're sitting on the market a little bit longer. We'll see how that pans out for us. But I'm waiting and I'm already seeing it, but it's like as every week goes on, like somebody's up there dumping gas, a little bit more gas, a little bit more. And I think it's starting to ignite.
Well, and same with me. I've had listings that sat, and then all of a sudden I had like 20 showings over a week span.
Right.
And then we were multiple offers and it sat for 6 months.
Right.
So something's shifting. People are getting warmed up. I don't know if it's season, their election, social media and the stuff you see in the news.
It for sure is a season. Like that's the big one is spring. Nobody wants to move in the wintertime when there's snow and it's cold and school and all this stuff.
I like to call it, some call it spring. I like to call it tax season. You know how much you made, you know how much you have to pay.
That's true.
People are getting returns, that's a huge thing. Some of these people are getting $5,000 to $10,000 or more back in taxes. That's that kick they're waiting for that down payment or like to make that move easier.
Yeah. So in fact, yesterday we were at a listing and my clients were in the process of putting it under contract, a new construction home. And the sales agent there is like, I expect to have, we look down the street, there's probably like 6 homes already built that have just been sitting. All these will be gone within the next week or two. And I'm like, no way. And then in our agent meeting this morning, Michaela's like, what? I can't remember. Maybe you weren't in there, but she said this builder has already upped their prices 10 grand because things are going. Like all the inventory that they were sitting on over the winter is being sold.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Well, and like you said, it's seasonal. It's everything that's going on in the world. Election years get weird every time. They always get funky, but
I get a text once a week. Hey, Lon. They think I'm Lon. Donald Trump here or something.
Yeah. Yep. All the weird political agendas out there. But going on to the percent of original list price received. So basically, what are they getting from their ask? And you know, a few months ago, you had a lot more wiggle room. You were asking for a lot more stuff, and deals were going under. And we're starting to etch back more toward. There's still a little bit of negotiation and like that healthy buy sell happening, but we were getting 94.6% of original list price received. We're up to 96.7, so almost 2.5% higher,
which is crazy.
Which seems like a small number, but when you're talking in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's 10, 20, 30 grand.
Yeah.
You know, so the wiggle room is getting tighter and sellers are getting what they're asking for. That competition's making the negotiations a little bit tougher.
Yeah, people don't think that's an insignificant number when they're thinking about hiring us, right?
Right.
But like, and this is the difference between a good agent and a mediocre agent, or not having an agent at all. Like if you look at what, say, a for sale by owner or somebody that doesn't have somebody good backing them is getting in the market versus what a good agent can get you and what the market's actually doing, like this knowledge is helpful because it's so easy. And I think that's what people don't realize when hiring agents is like the strategy of pricing your house and then actually getting what you want out of it, right? Yep. And there's so much emotion involved.
That's why we're here. So we're here to mitigate your emotion and to take it out. We just facts. You know, everybody wants $1 million,
right? And I have some sellers right now. Some are like not wanting to, like they're like, we're good, being patient, waiting, and probably a few listings where I'm like, hey, it might be worthwhile here soon to start thinking about a price drop. And then other sellers that are like, can we drop the price? I'm like, hold your horses, like give it, like we're within market timelines, like give it a second. We're not selling a car here. Like this is a house. It takes a minute.
Well, I think that comes from lack of knowledge. You know, they've seen a market over the last X amount of years where they may have got in when it was you had to give your left kidney and your firstborn child and had to be right now. And some sellers that, you know, they're like, we don't care. It took us 6 months to buy a house last time.
Yeah.
So I think that the realization of where we're at and what you have to do, like, hey, it's time to turn up the burners and get going, or breathe.
Or,
you know.
Or this is another example. Last night I ran into this. We have this beautiful listing coming up in an area. I'm not going to say where, but I gave them a ballpark range probably 4 months ago, 3 months ago. Like, hey, you're probably within this ballpark range. Well,
and there was a lot of work into that ballpark range.
Yeah. It's a very unique property. And I was going off of old sales data and all this stuff, but within a week, like another listing hit the market in that community. And instantly I'm like, hey, let's up our range 200 grand. We changed it, $200,000.
Yep.
200 grand. Crazy. So 200 grand. And then I got another piece of info that was good to know, that listing went under contract and I was able to know the price. I'm like, holy cow, they got their asking price and we upped it another 100 grand. So we went 300 grand higher than I was like originally thinking we could potentially get in this market, which is unreal. But that's the difference. Like, and
that's why you have an agent.
That's why you have an agent. But people don't, I mean, and there's a lot of like this area that we're selling in, like there's not data that, like, even an appraiser, if I were to send an appraiser in there, who knows what they're going to give me. And I could send 5 appraisers in there.
And you'll have a range bigger than your original range.
So our job is to set the precedence in that area, right?
Yep.
And so it's the Wild West.
I wouldn't say our job is set the precedence. Our job is to know the precedence. The buyers, what is value?
Yeah.
What a buyer's willing to pay a reasonable seller.
Right.
But if you don't know that and you're letting, like, you tell somebody you list their house at, like you said, you did a ton of research and it takes one sell in a similar area.
Right.
That changed your price $300,000.
Right. Well, and we'll see where it ends up. Like it's definitely not set in stone, and we could go back down. But again, that's how finicky this game can be, right? Like one neighbor, one sell away, or like just structuring it in a way where it's all about showcasing value and stuff like that. Like, and I'm going to use like the car analogy. If you have like a Porsche, like just having that emblem on there, people are like, oh, I'm gonna pay way more for that car versus a Honda Civic or whatever. And like, it's our job as real estate professionals to like set up the houses so they show like
a
that.
Porsche.
Right. Yep. So, and you'll get more out of it.
It's your turn on this one.
Love this one. Housing Affordability Index. So this is basically, it takes the median household income, the median priced home, and prevailing interest rates to determine how affordable things are. The lower the number, that means the less affordable it is. So we're actually trending downward. Last year we were 82. Today, or in February, we're 75. So we're minus 8.5% less affordable. Again, I don't understand exactly what all this means, but I guess the gist of it is prices have been going up, interest rates have been going up, and
so you need to make more than the median household income for it to be affordable.
Yeah. We kind of went back up for 2 months and things were becoming more affordable. I would attribute that to lower interest rates and prices dropping, but now we're dropping back down.
Yep.
So,
and I think it's just a matter of interest rates is a huge indicator and what people are making.
Right.
Okay. Inventory of homes for sale. So basically this is the stuff that are on market that haven't received an offer yet, that aren't under contract. February of 2023, we had about 9,700. February of 2024, 9,100. So that's a 6% decrease in inventory for sale. So our houses on market went up a little bit, but our inventory has gone down, meaning houses that are coming on are starting to move. Those ones that have sat for 6-7 months, they're moving, as well as the new ones that are coming on.
It's showing activity in the market.
Yep.
Okay. And last but not least, months supply of inventory. So last year we had 2.9 months supply of inventory. We're down to 2.8, a negative 3.4% drop, which is just indicating it's more of a seller's market. We're definitely far from a buyer's market in this case.
By definition of buyer's market, it's 6 months or more of inventory on the market.
The last time we were a buyer's market based off of that definition was 2013.
Yep. Well, in between 2012 to 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep that in mind. It's I don't know if they need to redo that definition, or I just think I think the biggest thing is the need for housing in Utah.
Yeah.
The want and allure to live here. I don't know if we'll ever dig out of that deficit.
I don't know. I am realizing how resilient the housing market is. If I was a betting man, I would have bet the entire farm that when they raised interest rates to 7% plus, that it would have crushed us. And it was like a bump in the road, it felt like. I mean, yeah, prices dropped and there was some fluctuation, but not anything crazy.
I think just that need still. We didn't fix anything. You made it harder, but when there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And that will is there's still a housing shortage in Utah.
So I was on Instagram the other day, and Chris Crone, love him or hate him, I've never been to any of his stuff, and I don't. Anyways, he posted a theory, and I thought it was interesting. And he was saying spring, summer, fall of 2024 is the market right after COVID hit, where we thought things were going to tank. It was going to get everything was going to crash, and the opposite happened, right? It was like wildfire, shot up. I mean, some of the craziest growth we've ever had. He's saying that with how high interest rates have risen and prices have come down slightly, and causing all this pent up demand, that all it takes is slightly lower interest rates and the floodgates are opened. All these sellers are going to be listing their houses. All these buyers are going to be coming out of the woodwork. And just because everybody, I mean, you ask, 10 people, I would say 5 of them are waiting, right?
So what do you, in your opinion, what's the momentum that's going to, what do you think is going to trigger that?
I think rates.
Rates.
I think all it would take are rates, and maybe not even rates. I mean,
Look at the programs that they're starting to toss out right now.
Oh yeah, the
for first-time home
programs.
buyers.
Yeah,
Because I think that the rates, that's what stopped a lot of the new home buyers. Because that's what a lot of
What
Utah has.
have you researched that? Because I didn't look into that much. Biden was saying like $400 a month for
I haven't seen the program roll out, but I've been talking to a few of our lenders that we use a lot, and I've been tasking my lenders. I said, look, I want you to call, because we're not professional lenders. Like, we know of the programs and we study them, but they change so much that we rely on our partners in this field. I've been having, like, Shelby Montgomery. She's been calling a lot of my first-time home buyers. Like, just call them and tell them about everything that's available, because what happens next month, something else pops
right.
up.
Well, I know Cade and Michaela, there was a Davis County grant, and they got that buyer like $40,000
Oh, yeah.
from a grant.
Yep.
I'm like, holy cow, that's huge. Like, when I first started, the grants, like Onan Ogden was like $3,500. And I'm like, sweet.
And you had to jump through hoops like crazy to get it.
I'm like, where were the $40,000? Like, that's a considerable amount. So I think it could be grants, it could be government. Like, I heard Biden saying that, hey, we're going to do a mortgage repayment program or something of $400 a month or something like that
for up to 2 years, and that's first-time home buyers.
That's crazy. Like, wow, that would really add some fuel to the fire. Interest rates dropping. Like, anyways, who knows? They're trying to solve the issues that they made by, I don't know.
Then now we're dipping into the politics side of things.
We're not going to jump into that, but
just be ready. Just know there's stuff out there. Have your agent do their research, especially once you get honed in on where and what and how much.
Yeah.
Then we can be a little more focused on, there's no way we could possibly know every program for every area.
Well, and the Fed originally said that they were going to drop rates.
Start of 2024.
It's been delayed, and now they're saying, well, Q2, Q3, Q4 will start dropping rates. And now I'm not sure. Like, I think inflation numbers came out, and they're less optimistic on how aggressive they'll be. But again, who knows? But all it would take is them dropping rates. And if you saw rates go, what are we right now?
So talking to Shelby this morning, she was saying that 6.1 to a lot of first-time home buyers will get them into like 5.8, 5.9.
Really?
Yep. You'd have to have a decent credit score around 730, 740, which a lot of kids do nowadays, because they've been prepped by their parents and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, we're not in the sevens anymore. People don't realize that. And she goes, even with a little bit not as good as 740, she's like, we can get them a 6.1. My daughter and her boyfriend have been thinking about buying a home.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've been digging into this a lot more and talking to them. And a lot of first-time home buyers, they're not 19 and 20 anymore that are doing this. They're 23, 24, 25, 26-year-olds.
Yeah.
They've been caught
saving.
in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're making it's crazy. The 3 first-time home buyers I'm dealing with right now, combined, they all make over $100,000. And I'm like, they tell me that, and I'm thinking like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, what we bought houses for, just that small gap of age.
Right.
Because remember, I'm still only 33 now. But it's insane, the new programs out there that what they can get.
Right. Well, yeah, I think rates drop anymore, and I think that's there's a lot of things at play, but I'm leaning towards it's gonna be a bigger year for everybody. Like, everything's just gonna kind of speed up. And in fact, I'll mention this and then we'll jump onto the next one. I went to a conference with like agents all across the nation, and there was probably 2,000 or 3,000 agents there. And the general sentiment there on the economy and what was going to happen, they're like, you just need to raise your goals. Like, the market is going to outperform last year by an easy 10%, the housing market. And so it's going to get busier. Things are going to move faster. It's going to change. And so, and I believe that. I think this year we'll see a lot more activity start to happen. And I'm already seeing it. Like I said, we're getting outbid on properties, multiple offers. Like, it's getting weird. So,
well, and I think a fun one would be to do one tape aid is take the nation over like a 10-year snapshot.
Yeah.
And compare it to how Utah performed according to the nation.
Right.
And just show like why Utah is the way it is.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So we're going to do a few little micro updates on some of the areas we focus heavily in. Ben's got Morgan County. If you want to do a quick couple minute review on Morgan County for February, and then I'll do Ogden Valley.
So this is going back to kind of think back to what Utah is and what Morgan is. New listings, we went from 6 in 2023 to 16 in 2024. That's just February. So more houses are moving, more are coming on. Pending sales, they also doubled. So Morgan's still moving. Closed sales, we had 6 in 2023 in February. We had 18 in February.
Wow.
So
200%.
that's huge. Yeah, 200% more homes sold in February. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but for Morgan County,
It's a lot.
inventory is hard. Median sales price has actually gone down quite a bit in Morgan County, but you have to remember,
You're only
one day you might have 16 homes that are all under $1 million for sale, and the next day it might be 16 homes that are all over $1 million for sale.
yeah.
There's such a wide spread, just like Ogden Valley. You have high end to modest starter.
All it would take is a few like high end or low end.
Two homes in the Cottonwoods to sell as opposed to 2 townhomes to
Right.
sell.
Yeah.
They just such a big swing.
So I wouldn't pay attention to that. Looks like prices have dropped in Morgan. It's heating up. Trust us.
And that could change next month depending on what comes on the market.
Right.
But one thing I did want to point out, so our average days in market in Utah is 67 days right now. Last year, we were 67 days in just February. So we're comparing this month in Utah and this month in February. In Utah, the average days on market is 67. In Morgan County, it's 48 days on market. So when stuff's coming on, we're moving a lot faster than the average county or the average micro market, you might call it. So Morgan is always healthy. It always moves. There's a need, a want. That Wasatch back is becoming more and more alluring as the front fills up.
Yeah.
So
Morgan's got so much. You got all the Wasatch Peak people, their eyeballs on it, wanting to get places before their houses are built, and
then just
all the
general
commercial stuff going
Morgan's
in.
finally stepping up on commercial. We're getting another grocery store or schools we're finally, for better or worse, once again, take it or leave it. Morgan's finally growing. And I think that's just people are finally being able to get up there but we're still small.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we're growing.
Right.
We're still desirable.
Any big updates or things that people should know in Morgan? Any happenings or?
We've got a lease coming in, which is awesome. We'll have another grocery store. In Morgan County itself, there's a couple new developments coming. A lot of people hate them, but they're great starter homes for, young families.
Mm-hmm.
Small lots, small homes, but Morgan proper is really doing its best to get with the times so these families can make it back. So
yeah,
you're going to start seeing a lot of new development stuff popping up.
That McDonald's, that's a hit.
Got a McDonald's, so Morgan's done. It's over. The hotel. I mean, Morgan's starting to move in the right direction. I think they're doing their best to do it responsibly. The inevitable is happening. Is what's happening. So, which is good and bad. Like I said, take or leave it. Don't come after me.
They're coming after you.
But that is what's happening.
All right. I'll give you a quick snapshot of Ogden Valley. So Ogden Valley is harder to pull numbers for, but we're going to compare like a monthly report of sales volume, median list price, sold, and all that. I should have changed this to average. I didn't, but it's all right. So there were 8 properties that sold in Ogden Valley in February of 2023. There was 13 in February of 2024. Volume in 23 was 6.7 million. In 24, it was 13.3 million. And then the median original list price and original sold price are both up. Percentage of sold price to list price actually came down from February of 23 to February of 2024. We went from 95% to 92%. But again, we're comparing such small data points. It's hard to really factor that in. But the median sold price and list price are up. So in February of 2023, the median original list price was $712. In 2024, it was $925. And then median price per square foot in 2023 was $371. In 2024, we were $389, so that's gone up. And then median days on market in February of 2023, 136 days on market. And again, in February of 2024, we were 85 days on market. So again, Ogden Valley's changing. Again, these are such small numbers that it's, and I should have done average. I have the option to do average or median. I did median. So this would look different if it were average as well. I like average on the smaller data points just because I feel like it gives you a better idea, but this is still very relative and good info.
What I want to kind of point out, just, and I'm just realizing it now because you kind of do Ogden Valley, I do Morgan a lot because that's where we live respectively. Ogden Valley or Morgan has stepped up because Ogden Valley used to always outperform just in numbers in general, volume, price, but Morgan has gone up in volume considerably.
Yeah,
as far as
new listings
and closed.
That's
and
true.
Morgan's moving a lot faster. The Valley's kind of sat for a little bit, but I think the Valley's going to pop off. I think it's been brewing, and I think people have been waiting.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of new developments happening there too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff happening within Ogden Valley. I'll name a few things. You had Powder Mountain get some new ownership. Reed Hastings up there. He was the co-founder of Netflix, and he's doing a lot of change up there. Part of the mountain is becoming like private to the owners of Summit. So you have to be an owner up there, not all of them. And I think they're bringing, not all the lifts are private, but a few of them. And then they're doing quite a few improvements and new lifts and stuff like that up at the resort. So Powder Mountain's going to have a lot of changes. That's a big talk of the town. Another huge talk of the town is the incorporation of Ogden Valley. So Huntsville has its own city offices and stuff like that. And then the rest of the valley falls under Weber County. And there's been a lot of new developments and people up in arms because they feel like these new developments, like there's not great representation of valley people representing the valley. So they kind of want to bring the city in-house in the valley. And so
I think it's about time there. I think it's grown enough.
I feel like Ogden Valley is very, like, as far as, it'd be interesting to know population and density and stuff, but it's similar to Morgan County, and Morgan is its own county. And Ogden Valley, we're still incorporated with Weber County. And so Weber County approves all the subdivisions and does all that. And we have members from the valley that participate with the county, but it's just different versus having it up in your area. And so I've been to a few meetings like that. They did a feasibility study, and then they had a big meeting. It was a month ago or so, talking about what changes would happen, how feasible it is. And it looks like it's feasible without raising taxes a bunch.
So there's elementary and middle schools in the valley, correct?
No high school.
When do you think that, or do you ever think that'll be a thing?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because that's a hard thing with a couple of my clients is they want to get to the valley, but they still have some kids up and coming, and they have a hard time sending them down to Weber.
Exactly.
Because it's not, they want to live in the valley for how the valley is, but then they send their kids. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's a different atmosphere.
Oh, it's hard. You know? It's hard for the valley kids to get to school. You have to go through the canyon, Ogden Canyon, which is safer, but still not the safest. So like, it's not an easy road in the wintertime with a teenager driving. And then they have to loop all the way around and go up to North Ogden. So it's a commute. Or they have to go over the divide, which is a lot closer, but like one of the most dangerous roads in Utah.
Yep.
And so a lot of parents are like, this sucks with kids. So yeah, I think a high school would be beneficial, but I don't know if I think we're far from just because the difference between Ogden Valley and Morgan County is probably 40% of Ogden Valley are vacationers, second homeowners, people that are there just periodically, nightly rentals. And so
it's half destination, half home.
Yeah. And so there's like half of the people that live up there are like primary permanent residents. The other half are just in and out. And so it's a very different feel than Morgan. I'd say 90% of Morgan is primary residents. They live there. And so
they're night and day different. And all it is one little valley.
One little valley. But I grew up in Morgan, love Morgan to death, amazing. The valley's slightly different with the ski resorts and the reservoir in the middle, but living in Morgan, like you're still right there. We would still
we utilize everything Ogden Valley has to offer.
Right. Yeah. So it's an awesome spot. But anyways, that is a quick little update.
I don't know if that was quick. We kind of got deep into that one. So
we did get
bear with us, I guess.
We did get deep into it, but I feel like there was a lot of stuff to talk about in these. I think it'd be cool to start talking about some like events and happenings and stuff like that. We did do a podcast for like every month, what's going on in the state of Utah and in our areas. And now that it's starting to warm up, there's more and more stuff happening in the area. So you can go back and find that. It's a fun little local guide if you are looking for stuff to do. So
if you need a date night, look at it.
Yeah.
Look at your fridge. Don't throw it away. Mount it. That's what most people said. I don't even look at your picture anymore. I put that on the fridge and I have a cheap date night. That's half the stuff is free or cheap. Or,
right. And as it warms up, there's a lot more as we start getting into spring, summer, and fall. So anyways, that's the update for you guys. If you have any needs, reach out to us. We would love to help you out. Even if it's a free consultation, give you an idea what your place is worth or go over what your plans or strategies are. We're here to help. So
that sounds so professional. You want to just bullshit or BS about real estate?
Call Ben.
Call me. That's the best way to, let's hash it out. Let's throw ideas, that's consultations are great, but I like to call them a BS session. Yeah. Let's talk about what you have, what you can do. So,
okay, guys, thanks for watching.